There seems to be some serious ramping up of punishments and penalties for game cheaters and hackers. We've only just told you about 15 cheat makers and sellers who got fined $5 million for cheats in PUBG. And now it looks like Blizzard and Overwatch are going down the same route.
First up in this week's gaming news roundup, 13 Overwatch hackers were arrested in South Korea back in January this year. According to an announcement by Blizzard, one of those arrested has been sentenced to 2 years probation and another has been fined 10 million won, or around $10,000. The remaining 11 cases are still currently under investigation. These prosecutions are the result of a joint operation by Blizzard and the Seoul National Police Agency Cybersecurity Department to catch illegal program developers in South Korea. In June 2017, South Korea introduced an amendment which brought harsher punishments for people caught hacking in games, with a maximum punishment being up to 2 years in prison and a fine for $18,000. This is just the latest update in Blizzard's ongoing battle against hackers in Overwatch. So this is pretty significant, I think, because it's another company now. This is a big American company, Blizzard, kind of going after hackers and cheats in the same way that we've seen Tencent already do with PUBG, and obviously it's a huge problem, cheating and hacking in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but now it's Overwatch as well, and Blizzard are clamping down on their game. So this does feel like kind of a bit of a shift now that they're kind of really starting to go after these people in a serious way.
Yeah, you definitely, you think about the amount of money that they're making these online games now. They want to keep people playing for as long as possible, and that's one thing that will put people off playing and spending as long as possible is people cheating and ruining the gameplay experience. So you get in the way of someone making money, they're going to come after you, and that's exactly what's happening here. And it seems, like Mike said, to be a trend in the industry right now. Also this week, Kickstarter-funded RPG Kingdom Come Deliverance has seen its player base drop off by 95% according to tracking website GitHype. When it launched in February this year, Kingdom Come was one of the biggest new releases of 2018, with around 96,000 concurrent players at its peak. However, in the past 2 months, Kingdom Come has lost 95% of its players, with the average concurrent play count now sitting at around 3,600 players. Kingdom Come is also on the verge of dropping out of Steam's top 100 most played games. GitHype say most people will attribute the decline to the game's single-player nature, but they point out that 2015's Witcher 3 and 2011's Skyrim are still in the top 100 games years after release. The site also highlight the fact that Kingdom Come's reviews have dipped into the mixed rating on Steam, with players citing game-breaking bugs and gameplay-related issues in their reviews. But there is one person who massively disagrees with this analysis, and that is Kingdom Come's director Daniel Vavra. In a tweet, Vavra said the drop was normal and the concurrent player count was higher than what was reported. In another tweet, Vavra said, quote, "In other words, we outperformed much more famous franchises and the graph of daily concurrent players looks almost identical to the other single player games. So go home, nothing to see here." I do feel like that is kind of normal for a single player game to dip in concurrent number of players. I think the way the industry is right now, people are always like, how many concurrent players are playing? Because mainly like there's multiplayer games. There's so many multiplayer games now, and having that longevity of people sticking around playing your game is important, because like the last story, it's all about money. It's all about trying to sell stuff after the case. With a single player game, it's completely different, and I feel like 10 years ago this wouldn't even be a story. Nobody wouldn't pay attention because they were all single player games for the majority, and this kind of player count, which we couldn't have analysed 10 years ago because they didn't have the stats. But again, who wants to play a game after you've completed it? So if it's a single player game, you don't stick around. That's normal. This is how games work.
While every other story on any given video game website these days is about Fortnite, there's still actually a couple that look pretty newsworthy. In a particularly eye-catching headline on GamesIndustry.biz, it was revealed that Epic Games' Battle Royale juggernaut actually pulls in 5 times more revenue than its closest rival PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on Apple's iOS. In fact, the site reports that the first week combined platform monetization for PUBG Mobile only reached 1/3 of the revenue Epic Games was seeing with Fortnite on one platform. Mobile intelligence company Sensor Tower dug up the numbers and saw that spending was much higher in Fortnite, despite actually seeing a fraction of the downloads of PUBG. Fortnite launched as an invite-only app exclusively on iOS, while PUBG, on the other hand, arrived freely available to everyone on both iOS and Android. And still, Fortnite made $3.7 million in its first week, dwarfing the $1 million made by PUBG on both platforms. Now, analysts think this might have something to do with Fortnite's better in-game monetization, which, unlike PUBG, does not depend on loot boxes.
Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney told MCV this week that more serious games like Fortnite will soon dominate the mobile market. He told the business magazine, quote, "When smartphones came out, everybody started playing casual games like Angry Birds. But over the years, most people have gotten bored of those experiences and they're no longer casual gamers. They've either migrated to not being gamers at all or come up to being core gamers. And the core gamers now expect bigger and more engaging experiences." He points out that PUBG and Fortnite are now topping mobile charts, both of which are games with PC and console heritage.
So Fortnite has done really well in terms of how much money it's actually made, despite not having as many downloads as PUBG, and the fact that it was invite only and the fact that it was only on one platform, it still made more money than PUBG by far in its first week. So this is week one comparisons here only for both respective games. And I think that is maybe a lot to do with the monetization. I think that is a really good point that the analysts have raised here, that they don't have loot boxes with random shit in them. They have actual like daily exclusive things like this is, you can only buy this for the next 24 hours. That kind of buy now before it's gone type promotions rather than just loot boxes. And they've tried to be a bit more creative with the way they milk their the people who play their games. And that's clearly working for them because people are buying into it despite having a small player base.
So the one thing that sticks out to me here from what Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney said is that he reckons that people start gaming with like in a casual experience with like Angry Birds or whatever on your mobile, and then they move on to something like Fortnite, and then they get into like proper games, and that's like a sort of gateway drug kind of thing. You're using like Candy Crushing before you get into the hardcore stuff like Fortnite. It's not really a hardcore game, it's still a casual game in there really. The point is it's growing the gaming industry. People getting into these casual games, you might think that it's not good for the industry, they're just shit, they're just trying to milk money off you, these microtransactions or whatever. But eventually, it grows the industry essentially, because if more people are coming into gaming because of these gateway drugs, then at least bigger pie for everybody in the long run. Let's just hope that they turn into responsible gamers and they don't just feed the whole microtransaction bullshit economy thing. That's another video.
And in Xbox news, a couple of things Microsoft has been doing really well recently with the Xbox One are backwards compatibility and the great value Xbox Game Pass, which gives subscribers instant access to a good library of games. Well, backwards compatibility certainly seems to be a hit with Xbox users, with Microsoft reporting that Xbox One players have collectively played almost 1 billion hours of original Xbox and Xbox 360 titles on the current gen system. Back in June last year, Microsoft reported that over 500 million hours had been played, so clearly that figure is growing rapidly. The company says that about half of all Xbox One users have used the feature.
But one bit of news that might sour some is the potential price rise for the Xbox Game Pass. The Game Pass sees users pay a monthly subscription to access a library of games, but numerous reports emerged online this week that the subscription price is set to go up in various European countries like Poland, for example, which is set to see a rise from around $8 to $11. This is nothing official as yet, and there's no news if other countries, including the UK, will be affected. We'll have to wait and see. This is one headline that Microsoft will not want to see, is people getting upset at the fact that the price rise is coming for the Game Pass. So they, if they see these headlines, they'll obviously want to try and negate all that negativity and come up with something to change that certain headline, because they're all about the positive headlines at the moment. Xbox seems to be on the rise as far as PR goes. They seem to be getting things right as far as the gamers are concerned. They're doing the pro gamer thing. So we'll see how they react to this little bit of news that the subscription might be going up, because up until now it's been seen as something really good, right? So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what they come up with.
What I like about it is that the argument from Sony before about backwards compatibility was that backwards compatibility is the thing that people always say they want, but they don't actually use it. Well, 1 billion hours of playtime doesn't lie, does it really? And Microsoft are proving that it is a popular feature and it works and gamers actually use it, and that is good. And that hopefully is something that all the console manufacturers will take into the next generation. It is something that people want because people are using it, and Microsoft are luckily for us sharing those numbers, and hopefully, like I said, they'll bring that forward into the next generation.
The more and more games that get made, these days games are made at such a high level of like graphics and story writing, everything. There's such a high level. You want to carry them through into the future. The games aren't always made like that, right? There's some of the older games that they're really bad, but going into the future, games will stand up for longer in future. So you want to take them forward into the next generation. PlayStation, sort your shit out. So there you have it. There's our weekly Sunday news roundup. What caught your eye in the news this week? Let us know down in the comments below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new around here. Check out another one of the videos on your screen there. Support us on Patreon using that link there. We'll see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.